ladies and gentlemen. Today, I will present about the new vision of CSTs in digitalizing world, sustainability and corporate governance services. In this respect, I will mention about MKK's innovative experiences as a corporate governance service provider, CST. Sustainability in capital markets requires a long-term and macro perspective. What does I mean with the macro perspective? We have to take into consideration all the stakeholders that we interested in, like the fund suppliers, fund demanders, intermediary institutions, regulatory authorities like CSTs, and other stakeholders. We have to integrate the environmental, social, and my screen went. Okay, okay. Sorry, but it's already finished. Do you need some help? Yeah, yes, please. How to begin it? Want to end? I don't know how. Ya ya.
Bu geri gidiyor.
Yok ben şunu kullandım.
Tamam bu geri gidiyor hocam.
Tamam ileri aynısı. Okay. Yeah, we are in here. Excuse me for the inconvenience. The integration of the ESG factors into management and decision-making processes is important for the whole participants of the markets. But today I will focus on the governance issues. As far as we all know that the good, strong corporate governance framework is a necessity for well-functioning, efficient markets because it provides the investor confidence, it helps the healthy capital formation and sustainable growth and resilience of companies. MKK is the Central Securities Depository and Trade Repository of Turkish capital markets. Yes, this is our core business. But at the same time, we are positioning ourselves as the corporate governance service provider company, provider CST. OECD principle says that the digital technologies can enhance supervision and implementation of corporate governance requirements. In this respect, we believe that the good governance will bring the sustainable companies and sustainable investor side. MKK is also a fintech company. We are an authorized research and development center for 11 years, and during this period we performed more than 60 projects. And we believe that as a fintech company and also the CST, we have a potential to develop new systems to ensure the good governance for sustainable markets. In this respect, I will introduce some of our products, some of our services developed by our R&D center. First of all, the public disclosure platform, or shortly PDP, is the main source of information for Turkish capital markets. Mainly the PDP serves the transparency. We all know that transparency is one of the most important pillars of the corporate governance. This is how the information flows in Turkish capital markets and at the same time how the PDP system works. Mainly, the PDP is designed to provide the correct, complete, analyzable, and reliable data. And of course, we disseminate the data on time and as widely as possible, and we try to provide the simultaneous access by all participants and at low cost. On the left-hand side, we see the parties that have to use the PDP system for their mandatory disclosure obligations, mainly the listed companies, intermediary institutions, even the audit companies, portfolio management companies, and all types of funds. We have approximately 4,000 companies and funds reporting. On annual basis, 150,000 notifications published on PDP website, and our website gets 50,000 visits per day. And also we have a mobile application. The PDP system is an XBRL-based system, and the analyzability of data is provided by this XBRL database. In the bottom side of the picture, you see the PDP's integrations. In fact, in Turkish disclosure system, we have a straight-through processing. What does I mean with this STP? Mainly we integrated PDP with our other systems that we are operating, like the central dematerialized system, electronic general meeting system, GEFAS, etc. What does this mean? Once a company sends a notification about the corporate actions like the capital increase, dividend payment, or general meetings, the notification is electronically transmitted. The notification is published on our website, and at the same time, simultaneously, it is transferred to our central dematerialized system and initiates the depository system's procedures. The company doesn't have to do anything else. And the same is valid for the integration between the PDP and EGEM system. They work in an integrated way. And also, it is integrated in terms of the data dissemination with the Borsa İstanbul's trading platform and Takas Bank's funds and mutual funds trading platform. We are feeding their systems also in terms of the disclosures. And also, another integration is the data vendors. Simultaneously, 40 data vendors disseminating PDP data throughout the world. And XBRL database of PDP system provides us to give some value-added data services. We have another website named as Data Analysis Platform, and we are publishing some statistics, some indices on this platform by using the PDP data, like the Corporate Governance Maturity Index. We are calculating this index on a methodology developed by our CEO, Mr. Arikans, on their PhD thesis. And also we are calculating the periodic financial ratios, revenue and profit indices, and some board statistics. And this is also, we may say that this is the social side of our services, because the data analysis platform serves to financial literacy, improvement of financial literacy. In this respect, investors and also academicians, university students benefit from these information services. Another service that I would like to mention about is the electronic general meeting system, the EGEM system. It is an online and secure platform for general meetings. Of course, in Turkey, all the listed companies have to perform their general meetings electronically. In fact, we have a hybrid system in Turkey. The companies have to perform simultaneously both the electronic and physical attendance, general meetings. The critical thing is the EGEM system removes the distance barriers to voting and gives chance to shareholders to use their strong voting right. In the below graph, you could see the numbers of the electronic and physical participations. The gray ones, the higher ones, are the electronic participations. The important thing is this, in fact. The system encourages the individual shareholders to join the meetings. In this year, investors from 34 different cities and 39 from different countries joined EGEM meetings. And also another important issue that we brought with the EGEM is our technological collaboration with Indonesian CSD. A customized version of EGEM also serves at Indonesian capital markets, and Easy Kaseye performs more meetings than our systems, since there are more listed companies. And electronic board of directors system is an electronic system designed for the electronic board meetings, and actively we have 200 companies using it. It shouldn't be taught as the Zoom meeting because, in our country, both for the general meetings and board meetings, there are legal form requirements. To have a valid board decision, you should meet these requirements. At the end of this digital board meeting, we have a legally valid board decision. The company doesn't have to do anything else. The critical thing is this. The system is also used for the committee meetings, not only board meetings. And a final service I would like to mention about the investor information service system, e-investor system, which is designed for the investors to follow up their portfolios at different intermediary institutions from a single point. Again, we have a mobile application. And this slide just summarizes how our systems, products match with OECD principles. Of course, this is not the whole picture. The whole picture is more complicated because I put only the products that I mentioned. But by the way, as the CSDs, we have a so critical role in leading our stakeholders, in improving our stakeholders' corporate governance structures in this digitalizing world. We have a great potential as the CSDs, in addition to our core businesses, of course. And also, as the MKK, we give a specific importance to international cooperations and collaborations because the relations with the micro levels will bring the success at macro levels. These integrations, the exchange of information with, together with different countries, will bring regional success, regional strength of the capital markets. And this slide brings me to the end of my presentation. It was a great pleasure to be and honor to be in here, but there are more valued speakers, and I would like to give floor to them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, to Dr. Ayzer BİLGİÇ for her presentation. Just before we invite our next presenter, I have an announcement to make. At 12:45 today, we will have a shuttle service to the nearest mosque for Friday prayer, for Juma prayer. So for any of those who would like to attend, please be informed, and it will return back to the venue at about 1:30. So just so you get yourself mentally prepared if you'd like to attend Juma prayer today. Now we can invite Mr. Mustafa KESKİNTÜRK, the Director of Portfolio Management, Pardus Portfolio Management Co., for his discussion, for his presentation.
Thank you very much for inviting me to this marvelous event. Thank you very much for being here, for listening to me. I will try to give a perspective to the service industry and its reflections to the investor services as a portfolio manager's eye. All reflex is always try to seize the markets by looking at the crowds, what they do, how they feel, how they act, what's their fear, what's the greed level. And we are trying to seize the investor sentiment by the portfolio manager's side. So again, we will look at the crowds and how they feel, how they need. That's why my presentation has two chapters. First, this is your third day in this marvelous big event. So you must be feeling a little bit tired. So I will try to give a little bit hint about our culture, and then our culture into investor services and the service industry as a whole. So I will try to just take the air from here to our culture a little bit. I have 10 minutes, so I will try to bond all of them into the service industry and the sustainability of the sector as a whole. My first chapter is going to talk about, we are going to talk about our culture and our service industry. So let me start. Okay. So I'm a member of Güler Holding Company, Güler Investment Holding Company, and I'm very happy to be there for the 7 years. And I've been in this sector for 25 years. I've been working in Denizbank before for 17 years, and I'm a father for an 8-year-old son, and married, etc. So let's skip that. Okay, Turkish culture. We are really very much hospitable and very much, actually too much friendly, okay? We like to share and we are really open-hearted. We like to host our guests and like to be hosted. We like to be spoiled and we are kind of impatient people. We don't like to wait at lines too much. We always try to bend the rules. So all of our rules has another lines that makes them not bendable for the investors. And and we like to be served and we like to serve a lot. So this is a kind of our breakfast. And if you travel a lot, you can see people just put food into your mouth, not like into a romantic way, but just taste it, okay? So we are open-hearted and we read less. This is a very important topic. Mouth-to-mouth information is more reliable. I mean, we don't go to a doctor, okay? We just go to a friend, tell about our illness. Oh, I use this one, please use it. No, use it, it's going to be okay. So we prefer doctors much more than, we prefer friends or relatives much more than doctors, okay? And we like to eat. This is our usual breakfast. We call it serpme. If you go for 3 person, you will have that kind of a breakfast. So breakfasts and or dinners is like quite rich, more than you can eat. Okay, and of course we have a wide range of kitchens. Ottoman kitchen, Mediterranean, Anatolian, Black Sea kitchen. So we have a variety of foods, which I believe you wanted to taste or tasted already. And we like to drink tea. If you go to anywhere, you will have to drink tea, like not a small cup, but a pot of tea or coffee. They serve you until you get shaped. Okay? We are insistent people. You have to drink. I mean, like this one, if you don't drink, we force you to eat or drink it. Okay? Okay. So the reflection to the service industry and our culture. I remember we call the small market, or bakkal what we call, or we have a doorman. They bring food, fresh bread, milk every morning for like more than 30 years. So it's in our culture. And electrician, pumpers, infrastructure, painting your walls, you don't have to wait less than, more than a week. You just call, it's just being served to your home. And small markets used to do it, but then hypermarkets are giving those services. So whatever you need, fresh fruits, soft drinks, whatever, cleaning tools, you just call them, they bring you in your preference choice at your hour. So online restaurants are common usually for 25 or 30 years. You can eat at 4 o'clock in the morning, whatever you like, kebab, whatever you like, it's going to be served at your home. So we like to be served. And this is strange, actually. One shopping mall just started to make a service. They tried it. I don't know if it's still available. But on the shopping mall, in every store you go, you just create a basket and you put medium size, large size, shoes, medium, large, different colors. When they call them, they just bring them into your home in 1 hour. So at your home comfort, you try, okay, that fits, okay, I don't like this, and you give them back. So you pay what you choose. So this is insane. And at your home comfort, you are shopping from a shopping mall. So investor services just evolving to the needs exponentially. And health and fitness, I mean, my mother-in-law just have their injections, have her injections at home, whatever we call them, doctors, medical troops, just came to your home and whatever you need. So let's talk about, I mean, we take it a little bit further, okay? Just want to give 1 minute to this presentation. So there's Göcek. It's in south coast of Fethiye, a small village. Its population is like less than 5,000 in 2022. So it's really, there's not much hotels other than the village. So there are lots of bays, 20 major bays, hundreds of small bays, and it's quite far away, like 30 to 45 minutes by boat to the bays, okay? So what do you need at a bay? Okay, you need fresh milk, fresh bread every morning. Okay, they serve it. Okay, villagers seize the market and try to compensate it with their efforts. So in any electrical or mechanical service is going to be served at your boat. Okay, that's understandable. If you don't move mechanically, they will come here. Okay, that's understandable. So there are markets. If you need any other supplies, and they call, they are going to bring them to your bay. And there is disposal water sponsored by Tüpraş. Tüpraş is the biggest companies in Turkey and sponsored to this. So if you call them, they come and take your disposal water into the bay where they are. So, okay, that can be normal. Big markets seize this opportunity, and from every morning from 9 to 6 o'clock, big markets come and stop by all the bays, and you can go and shop there. If you don't have a boat, small boat, you call them, they bring them to you. And there are lots of opportunities. Again, on a restaurant side, they will serve all the things to your boat as well. But this is interesting. They also serve coffee. If you are away from a village, like 45 minutes away, and you want suddenly coffee, iced latte, you call them to the village, and they have their boats, like this one, and they serve it like 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, they serve it to your boat, hey, your iced latte. Okay, this is something strange, and we like to be served, as I say. And by this, they sold like close to 5,000 kilos of ice cream and 5,500 liters of coffee in 2 years. So, the reflection to the banks and intermediary services, I want to just look at the service industry and focus on services also on the bank side and also from the intermediary side. So, of course, there are some limitations, which is a must, I believe. In Turkey, all banks you can use all ATMs. If you are from an ABC bank, you can use all the other banks. Moreover, if you have the app of that ABC bank, with this app, if you give permission, you can just access all the other banks' accounts from one app and manage all of them. Look at the bank transaction and look at the fintech, how evolving into our world. Look at how the banks and intermediary institutions are talking with each other. On the intermediary institution side, I mean, for like 10 years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago, you have to go to an intermediary institution to open an account and sign hundreds of pages with 150 signatures. You have to sign the papers and you have to go to physically there. So we just solved it, and we have motor couriers like 3 or 4 years ago. They bring all the documents to the clients, they will sign at the home comfort and bring them back to us. But now, with the help of course, our Central Security Depository Agency, MKK, and Capital Market Board, we open accounts at our home comfort without signing any documents. If you want to trade and don't have an account, you just call the intermediary institution from FaceTime, and you have your ID, you put your ID back to your phone, all of your ID information goes to the intermediary institution, and MKK gives an account number in 1 day, and you sign all the documents online and start trading in 2 days. Fintech and intermediary institution services are evolving very fast to our daily comfort. So does the back office needs, so does the settlement needs. So it's evolving. So portfolio management industry will continue to grow in Turkey because from mouth-to-mouth information, we are evolving. The need for professional assistance is growing rapidly. This is our stock exchange free float MCAP. I choose free flow MCAP, but on the right side, you can see the index MCAP just increased 15 times from 2013. So the MCAP is really evolving, really developing. And the asset management companies, asset under management increased from 30 to 160 billion Turkish dollars. But the number of investors with those developments increased 8 times, 7 times in 10 years' time. But it's still less than 10% of the total population. So we have a huge way to go. And the sustainability of the industry as an intermediary institution and representatives, we have a big responsibility to make investors use professional help. So that's our main concern, and that's our main work. We have to move on. And of course, as Mr. Jim told, this is a very, very important topic, cybersecurity in the upcoming future. With the help of AI, they can copy your voice, they can copy your face, make them talk, and the developments on the cybersecurity side will be a huge topic in the upcoming future, I believe. So I think I've passed my time. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much for that. We thoroughly enjoyed Mr. Mustafa KESKİNTÜRK's presentation. And up next is our next presenter, Saner GENÇOğLU. He's the Senior Vice President, Risk Management, QNB Finansinvest, Türkiye.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. And also thanks to MKK and the 2 other organizations for making this event happen. The financial landscape is constantly evolving, presenting both challenges and opportunities. And this presentation will be covered mainly in 2 parts. First being sustainability of investors, and the second being sustainability of stakeholders in the industry. Each section aims to highlight how resilience can be built within our markets, giving among the key players involved. Resilience and sustainability often seem as 2 sides of the same coin. This synergy between them protects individual investors and strengthens the market as a whole. Before diving into climate-related risks and transitions, I'd like to start with investors and what needs to be done to sustain their growth in capital markets. In the wake of COVID-19, we've seen a surge in retail investors, mainly derived by low interest rates and ease of access to trading platforms and also digital onboarding solutions. As the industry, our goal should be here to retain that organically grown investors and steer them to be more resilient. It was something that we were aspiring for a long time as the industry. Now it's at our door, the growing number of investors, and now it's our job for us to make the best use of it. They also, a wider range of investors also contribute to market in various ways by making increasing the volatility, enhancing market liquidity, and making informed decisions. But these are all true only if they have access to accurate information, proper financial education, and tools that allow them to assess their risks and opportunities effectively. To give an example of a local challenge, the Turkish funds market has not seen the same level of growth in its investor base as the Turkish equity market. While equity market numbers reach nearly 8 million investors, the funds investors remain at 5 million. The challenge of our local markets is to increase the participation on the fund side, and we need to do that, we need to encourage investors to diversify their portfolios and adopt long-term investment strategies so that they can withstand market fluctuations more effectively. So how can we maintain a resilient customer base? Understanding risks is essential for maintaining market stability. So the first way is to improve financial literacy among investors. The way to conscious and correct investment in capital markets is through financial literacy. To address this, at QNB Finansinvest, we have launched an educational portal called Yatırım Okulu, meaning investment school, to provide comprehensive resources that enhance our customers' understanding and confidence in managing their investments. We also recognize the invaluable contributions of other organizations in this area. Also, workshops and webinars can keep the customers up to date. The Turkish Capital Markets Association and other related parties are making significant efforts towards investor education, reinforcing the importance of informed decision making. Another example, next week Capital Markets Board of Turkey, Borsa Istanbul and TCMA will hold an international, with the International Organization of Securities Commission, will hold the World Investor Week event. Also some words for personalized guidance. Tailored advice based on individual financial preferences helps customers understand their risk profiles and manage their risks effectively. Leveraging AI for idea generation allows personalized guidance in capital markets, enabling strategic investment decisions tailored to individual client needs. At QNB Finansinvest, we have launched our AI-powered equity algorithm, equity stock picker algorithm, called Akıllı Robo, meaning intelligent robo. The industry is also utilizing the power of AI as it improves efficiency and reduces biases, resulting in better customer experiences. To conclude, financial literacy and risk management is vital for creating a resilient customer base. By prioritizing educational initiatives, we not only enhance individual financial literacy, but also contribute to the overall stability and sustainability of our markets. The last part of the first section will be about the institutional clients who seek funding. Companies today are under growing pressure to adopt sustainable practices and show their commitment to environmental responsibility. Transitioning to green funding is not just a trend. It's an essential for long-term viability. As you can see on the bottom right figure, since 2006, sustainable debt market has grown to $5.1 trillion, and almost 20% was that issued last year. I would like to give again a local example, a local challenge. More than 50% of our Turkey's exports are directed to European Union. With the implementation of carbon border adjustment mechanism, Turkish exporters are increasingly required to undergo through green transition to meet EU's environmental standards. Therefore, green funding is not just about accessing finance at lower rates or benefiting from green use. As Mr. Serdar before us mentioned, there are no green use anyways, so it's a necessity for companies to sustain their core businesses in the long run. Going green also enhances brand reputation, gives the companies heads up in the regulatory requirements, and makes companies more resilient in the long run. If they want to take a part from that growing pool, they will need to be prepared for the regulations that to come. So we need to encourage the institutions to go in that way. In part two, I'll try to cover the sustainability of stakeholders with an emphasis on climate transition. The record high temperatures and rising greenhouse levels make it clear that the climate change is real. This environmental shift not only impacts ecosystems, but also disrupts economies, which is why climate risks are increasingly recognized as financial risks. On the first figure, you can see that national catastrophe-related economic losses have surpassed $290 billion in 2023. And on the next one, it's clear that the frequency of such events are growing. This trend is forcing every business to go through climate transition process. While climate change seems to mainly come with risks, there are also some opportunities. The assessment of risks and opportunities during climate transition is going to be a process that every organization must go through. Every company will eventually have to incorporate a framework like the one shown on the bottom right corner into their decision-making processes, ensuring that both risks and opportunities are evaluated and reflected in their financial reporting, enabling them to adapt climate-related changes and maintain long-term resilience. To give an example, as a member of a brokerage firm, we will need to consider sector-specific risks when setting collateral haircuts, intraday buying powers, and leverage ratios of derivatives to ensure that they reflect the impact of climate-related changes on different industries. So we need to do something, that's for sure. But before starting to take actions, some might get lost in the midst of many regulations, principles, or guidelines. So where to start? The primary goal should be reaching net zero while accounting for the impact that our organizations create. Setting company-specific goals, much like Paris Agreement's nationally determined contributions, is crucial. It ensures that targets are relevant and achievable within each sector. Creating an assessment within the current infrastructure of our companies, rather than establishing a new layer of management, will result in a smoother transaction. This approach integrates the climate transition into existing corporate functions, rather than treating them as separate entities. To achieve this, the transition should be initiated by the highest level, meaning that the boards must lead the way. The chart in the middle shows how we handle this governance structure, starting from the board at QNB. Creating a sustainability governance framework and constructing related policies is the foundation of sustainability efforts. It's important to clarify risk ownership and responsibilities, and following this, setting specific and measurable targets tailored to your company, and taking actionable steps and continuously measuring and reporting progress to reach your targets is important. Here is an example of QNB Group sustainability governance. We are approaching sustainability under 3 topics. First one being sustainable finance, because we want to deliver profit with purpose. Second one being the sustainable operations, because we want to operate ethically and more efficiently. And the last one being beyond banking, because we want to contribute towards wider society. And the figure on the right side shows our strategic focus areas and the related reportings used for disclosure. In the end, it all starts with commitments. Committing to a well-known initiative helps organizations to gain quick and positive results in the short run. For the last part, the efforts of the industry, achieving an industry-wide transformation requires collaboration between a wide range of stakeholders, including regulators, associations, asset management companies, and brokerage firms. Here are some examples from our local stakeholders. Capital Markets Board of Turkey published Sustainability Principles Compliance Framework and Guide on Green Bond Issuances. Borsa Istanbul established Sustainability Platform, Sustainability-Themed Indices, and published Integrated Reporting Guide. Public Oversight Accounting and Auditing Standards Authority published Disclosure of Sustainability-Related Financial Information Standards. Many asset management companies are focusing on sustainability-themed investments. A group company of ours, QNB Asset Management, turned one of its index ETFs into clean energy ETF and constructed an index. There's also a clean energy and water fund of funds managed by QNB Asset Management. A rather recent development, 30% Club, an initiative that advocates for women empowerment, together with CEOs of brokerage firms, signed a declaration to promote greater representation of women on company boards and in executive levels. To conclude my words, multilateral efforts of the industry is vital for achieving a sustainable transformation of our financial systems. By working together, we can align our strategies, foster transparency, create sustainability culture, and collectively contribute towards a greener and more resilient financial system. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saner GENÇOğLU, for that presentation. And now we have our last but not least, Mr. Miguel ESPINOZA from the CSD product owner Montran Corporation from Romania. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, I guess, everyone. Once again, thanks to MKK. It's been a pleasure being here. And it was very interesting to see the hospitality culture of Turkish people, and I'm really glad that we managed also to experience that. Of course, I haven't been fed yet on the mouth, but maybe looking forward to it. Okay, so today we've been covering corporate and also sustainability and also investor services as part of these presentation sessions. And I think it's important to realize that we also have that component of actually who are we trying to serve with all of this. We are talking about the actual investors. So today we'll be looking a bit about how we can empower those investors. Actually, as part of the OECD, we can see a lot of principles, and in those principles we can see how it's trying to protect investors and their rights. So it's an important role that all the FMIs are actually doing in this concept. Now, I guess it's this one. Once again, my name is Miguel. We'll be covering this topic, talking a bit about the trust. Actually, there have been several discussions on trust during these days. We'll talk about democratization and also those rights. When we're talking about trust, actually yesterday, Jesse from the Kenyan CSD was mentioning that as CSD entities, we are selling trust and confidentiality, and which it's quite relevant. I totally agree with that, because in the end, we need to make sure that if we want to bring more investors, and we also want to make sure that they build all those, and we try to build bridges. Even the conference on its own is about building bridges, connecting, but in the end, it's because we want to have investors there. So as part of the CSD entity, it's important to always be able to build that trust. Okay, so talking about the trust, that's why it's important for CSD institutions to provide transparency, to provide advice, financial education, and technology. Without going too much into the details, because I know that I'm the last presentation and everyone is expecting to go and enjoy those Turkish cuisine and the lunch that is waiting for us. I think it's important in the end to realize that basically when we are talking about transparency, for instance, we've been looking at different platforms. For instance, I think MKK actually has been done an amazing job for many years, because I'm pretty sure that many CSDs have been looking, and I'm not talking only on this region, but I would say in the world, at all the different platforms that they have been building. So it's quite impressive, all the different functionalities that they have, and how they have basically been giving the investors that possibility to access not only general meetings, but also when it comes, for instance, for portfolio management, investor, and stuff like that. We're talking about advice and financial education. We were just looking a few minutes ago, for instance, one of the platforms that was provided by QNB, how they can actually build a platform for those investors, and they can see information there, how to interact with the market. However, we always need to be looking into what are the investors that we are trying to cover. I don't know if maybe it's just me, but when I'm going, for instance, into Instagram nowadays, it's usually going to those, I don't know if it's shorts or what's the name, but basically you just start scrolling, you keep scrolling. So at this point, it's pretty clear that we need to make sure that we are able to provide that information in very, very concise and precise details that not only me, but my son later on will be able actually to go and oh wait, I can look at this into 20 seconds, and I can understand, okay, what is the capital markets? Because I think it was critical what even from Indonesia yesterday, we were looking at the way that they managed to grow, and when they were doing the analysis of that growth, it was coming from those newer generations, Gen Z, millennials, and so on. Well, I don't know all the generation names, but the idea is that basically there's a lot of growth coming from that population. And the way that we can attract them is, of course, they need to actually be involved into that. And that also leads us to the last step, when it's about technology. Actually, CSDs are not necessarily, or I mean, we have CSDs for 30, 40 years, so it's not something that we depend on a specific technology to build that trust. The trust is there, so the technology. But I think that in the end, it's important for that, for the investors to get to see that area, to get to understand what's happening, and to make sure that they can rely on that technology, regardless, call it DLT, traditional, call it whatever name you want to put on it. They need to make sure that it's reliable. I don't know if you've seen, but even people, when they are looking into the phone, they don't know basically what when I'm looking, I don't know, on my e-banking application, I'm not considering, okay, what technology are they using, what are the services, and so on, because sometimes we end up trying to focus on some specific areas. What I care is that basically that is there, and I can trust on it, okay? So that's why it's important for all of us to be looking into that. Now, as part of this concept, we also have the democratization part, that basically we need to make sure that all those investors can get that that power and be part of the capital markets. Now, I know that it sounds also as part of the of this I don't know, financial inclusion and also financial literacy part, but it's more than that. Because in the end, I can tell you even from my own experience, last year when my son turned 18 years old, I didn't know that, but actually he opened an account. He opened an account with one of the brokers and for crypto trading, because one of his friends was doing crypto, so he went on to crypto. Of course, as expected, he ended up losing all the money that he put into. But in the end, he came to me a bit later, and I was then trying to explain. But in the end, what we need to understand is that with this, we can see how those newer generations are not necessarily like afraid anymore of investing, because they hear it every day. They hear it like, if you see, I don't know, do you start looking around, you can find a lot of entities that would start basically offering cryptocurrencies and blockchain, and even if you go into a mall, and now you have those kind of ATM machines that where you can buy cryptocurrencies and so on and so forth. So now they know the terms about investment, but it's important for them to know that that's not the only path. They need to know what are the capital markets. And as it says there, it's important for them to understand what are the different risks and what's, and as capital markets, we need to make sure that we can have all the different type of instruments and different type of assets that can meet those risks. And they need to be aware of that. Of course, I'll be honest, my son didn't know that when he was buying those crypto, he was expecting like just to become a millionaire in 1 year. We know, especially in this room, we have people that have been working with capital markets for years, and we know that those things don't necessarily happen. But of course, if we look at those newer generations, that's the way that they are seeing. They believe that, okay, today I will put $10 into this latest, I don't know, not only cryptocurrency, but let's put a name of any instrument, and then in 5 years, I will be millionaire. Because I can see also that maybe there are some stocks, like everybody wants to buy, I don't know, Tesla at some point or Apple. So they need to basically get that information, okay? And as part of that, it's important for them also to know what are the steps that they need to do in order to get into capital markets. In some cases, there are a lot of barriers. It's quite impressive. For instance, we were looking at what the MKK is doing, and we were seeing the previous presentation from A1 Capital, how basically now the onboarding, it's done really fast, and now there's a lot of collaboration. And of course, there are different instruments and different players that are involved into that aspect, but it's important to make sure that we push for that to move things forward, because otherwise, I'm pretty sure that if I go to my son and tell, oh, you know, you can get and buy some ESG bonds. First of all, I need to explain first what is ESG for him. Unfortunately, he's still not necessarily too worried about the environment and governance and stuff like that. But still, even after we pass by that, then we will go, okay, now you need to do to open an account with an intermediary, or in some cases directly with the CSD. What are the steps? And if we look, I know that some entities, because actually I was looking into some websites, you provide some information, what are the steps, how to get in there, but sometimes it's not necessarily clear. I'll be honest, there are some videos sometimes, I don't know, a 20 minutes video that explains the steps in some cases, other just provide some documents, but there's no necessarily a sweet, easy way for them to understand and then to get more details, because they should not be afraid of just all the amount of information that they will receive, okay? Now, talking also about the OECD principles, we're talking about the rights. In the end, for investors to get involved, oh no, I was actually going to use that the fact that my name is, if you noticed before, it was actually ESPINOZA CSD. So you understand how good Montran is with CSDs, but we cannot no longer use that one. Okay, good. When we are talking about the rights, actually this was taken as part of the principles, and actually MKK also went through it, how they cover, but MKK has been doing a quite impressive job doing that, covering all those rights and making sure that they have access and the tools for those investors. But now the question should be, am I doing it as a CSD or as a financial market infrastructure? Do I provide the methods, for instance, for, well, I hope that all the CSDs here in the room cover for sure with the first one, for ownership registration. Is that clear? What are the steps? How can I facilitate that to the investors when we go to the transferring? Is it clear? How can they see? Because if you go and look into, I don't know, regular platforms that nowadays people use, they expect to see things almost immediately. So if you go and tell them, okay, there is, I don't know, T+3 process, then it may take too much time for them. And you can see again, then we go with general meetings, also having access to the information and so on. I won't stop into those, each one of those elements, because I think that the important part is for the CSDs to actually identify those, look at the principles. Actually, I managed to go through the document, and this is just one paragraph basically of the principle, so that can give you an idea what else you should be doing, because as it was presented by Sander, it's important that it's not necessarily given to the companies, to those listed companies, but it's actually given to regulators and financial market infrastructure. So it's important for you to be aware of that and making sure that you can make the platforms or channels, ways in which those rights are respected, okay? Now, there are important things that we need to keep into account. When we are talking about markets, we've looked at MKK throughout these days, and also in the past we've heard a lot about it, but each market has its own needs. I think how it's clear also how the service culture that is part of Turkey, now it's embedded also in MKK, and they were forced to basically build all these platforms. Now I understand that the different markets work differently, and that's why it's important that each one of you should understand what is needed in your market, okay? So we were looking before, for instance, and even yesterday there was a discussion that it was chicken and egg. Should we build the path first, or should we actually wait for the need to come? And maybe if we build the path, then the need will come. So it's important to do that analysis, and that analysis should not be done alone. You need to involve participants, issuers. We've been, as a solution provider, we've been working with many institutions that they come, okay, we want to build this very nice advanced functionality, and it's like, okay, one of our questions, okay, who is going to use it? We don't know yet, but we want to build it. So it's important to understand and to have also the issuers on board, because, for instance, you may be building a lot of platforms, but then you may get a lot of backlash from, for instance, from the participants on the intermediaries. But at some point, you need basically to find that right balance. It was covered throughout the last 2 days also, the importance of the security and privacy. I won't go into the details. There are a lot of things that need to be, you need to go deep into the cybersecurity, because in the end, if you're trying to do all these things and trying to build a trust, but if the platform is not working, or if anyone hears about any hack, or maybe it's not available for just even few minutes, I'm pretty sure that then the investors will say, okay, something fishy is going on. Okay, so that's why we need to make sure that we have we need to consider into the technical implications. We need to look into the resilience part now, especially for those in those CSDs that have more interaction with the European markets. Now you may be impacted also by the DORA regulations, because that's even coming into the stakeholders of those CSDs. So it's a lot to take into account, but it's basically to make sure that we have the right tools in place for that. Okay, so that was mainly for my end. Once again, we are from Montran. We have a global presence. We've worked with over 40 CSDs. If you would like more information, just let us know, because we've been trying to address all these issues with different institutions around the world, and we are there to help you. Okay, thank you very much. Feel free to contact us.
Thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Miguel ESPINOZA. Now I'd like to, as before, ask our presenters to stay seated, as we have some gifts for you. And to present your gifts, I'd like to once again invite onto stage CEO of MKK, Mr. Ekrem Arıkan, and AMIDA President, Mr. Abdullah Abdin.